AI is incredibly powerful, right? But all that power comes with some serious risk. Today, we're going to break down the two critical shields every organization needs to manage that risk: governance and security. Let's jump right in. We're already seeing AI do amazing things, from discovering new medicines to completely changing how we work. And honestly, we are just scratching the surface. The potential is absolutely massive, and it's unlocking things we used to only see in sci-fi movies.
Okay, but with all that incredible power comes a pretty serious flip side. What happens when the AI gets it wrong? When it starts giving bad answers, or insulting your customers, or even worse, leaking sensitive data. The damage to a company's reputation and bottom line can be just devastating.
And this is not some far-off theoretical problem. A recent IBM report found that a staggering 63% of organizations have no AI governance policy in place. Just let that sink in for a second. More than half are just flying blind, leaving this huge gaping hole in their defenses. So how in the world do you manage this risk? Well, it really boils down to two key things working together: governance and security. Now, they definitely overlap a bit, but they are two very distinct disciplines that protect you in different but totally complementary ways. So, to really get the difference between governance and security, let's start with a simple question. Whose job is it anyway? Who typically owns each of these areas inside an organization?
Generally speaking, on the governance side, you're looking at the Chief Risk Officer leading the charge. For security, that's usually the domain of the Chief Information Security Officer, or the CISO. Now, of course, these two have to be in constant communication, but just knowing who owns what is the first step to building a really solid strategy.
Okay, so we know who's in charge. Now let's get down to the nitty-gritty. What are governance and security actually trying to solve? What are they fundamentally worried about?
This right here really gets to the core of it. Governance is all about looking inward. It's about making sure your AI is responsible, that you can explain its decisions, and that it's fundamentally trustworthy. Think of it like quality control for your AI's behavior. Security, on the other hand, is looking outward. It's all about protecting the system from attacks, from vulnerabilities, and stopping data leaks from what we call shadow AI. All those AI tools your employees are using without getting approval first.
Here is a really simple but incredibly powerful way to think about it. Is the problem a self-inflicted wound, or is it an attack coming from the outside? That distinction is absolutely crucial.
This table just lays it out perfectly. Governance issues? They're typically accidents, right? Self-inflicted wounds. Maybe you used some bad data, or the model was trained poorly, or it came from a source you shouldn't have trusted. You didn't mean to make a mess, but you did. Security, though, that's about intentional attacks. Someone is actively trying to break your system, trick your AI, or steal your data. And believe me, when governance fails, the fallout can be massive. Your AI could start spitting out toxic content or develop unfair biases. It could drift over time and become less and less accurate. You could even get sued over the data it was trained on. And of course, there are hallucinations, when the AI just confidently makes stuff up. These are those self-inflicted wounds we're talking about. Security failures, on the other hand, threaten three core pillars. First, confidentiality. An attacker could steal your sensitive data. Second, integrity. They could poison your data to manipulate the AI's answers. And third, availability. They could launch an attack that takes your entire AI system offline.
Okay, enough with the doom and gloom. We get the risks. So now let's talk about the solution. Let's actually build a framework that brings governance and security together into protective layers.
So right at the very center of our framework is the AI system itself. This is the precious asset we need to protect. The very first layer of defense we're going to build around that core is the governance ring. This governance layer is really your foundation. It's all about process and oversight. This is where you figure out how AI will be used. You track exactly where your models came from, you measure the risks, you monitor performance, and you make sure you're compliant with regulations. It's basically how you manage the entire life cycle of the model to stop those self-inflicted wounds before they happen.
All right, now wrapped around that solid governance foundation, we add a much more active layer of defense, the security ring.
The security layer is your active defense shield. It's out there discovering those hidden shadow AI models, scanning for weaknesses, and running tests to see if it can be broken. And critically, it includes tools like an AI firewall. Think of that like a really smart security guard standing between your users and the AI, actively blocking malicious attacks like prompt injections in real time. So,
When you put all of these pieces together, the core AI, that governance ring, and the security ring, you end up with a really simple but really powerful formula for lowering your overall AI risk.
And this right here is the biggest takeaway of all. Having a great AI model by itself is just not enough. You absolutely have to combine it with strong governance practices and tough security protections. It's the combination of all three that really truly gets your risk down. I love this quote because it just nails the importance of this framework. Without clear governance and security policies, you're basically running a race without a finish line. You've got no way to measure success. You don't even know if you're going in the right direction.
And that leaves us with one final and really critical question for you to think about. Take a hard look at your own AI projects. Are you truly prepared to defend against both types of threats? The internal, self-inflicted wounds that come from bad governance and the external, intentional attacks that security is designed to stop. Because to be truly safe, you have got to be ready for both.